I talked with Lindsay Hilsum from Tripoli after she filed that report. Lindsay Hilsum, thanks for talking to us. It's nighttime there now. What's the situation? Is fighting continuing?
Yes, I understand it is in the center around the Bab al-Azazia compound, which is Colonel Gaddafi's compound, although we don't think he's there, and the Rixos Hotel, which is where many of the journalists are trapped. I am in the west of the city in a quiet area. All I can hear is a little bit of gunfire and the sound of NATO planes overhead. But in other parts of the city, it's extremely dangerous, violent, and volatile tonight. I've just heard a couple of bangs even as I'm speaking to you.
You mentioned Gaddafi. Is there any better sense of his whereabouts, even whether he's in fact still in the country?
Not really. I asked one man today, where is Gaddafi, and he said, gone with the wind. And I think that's as good a guess as any. There is no solid information about his whereabouts or his plans other than his last audio broadcast in which he said that he would never surrender, and if he died, he would die in Libya.
As to the loyalists still fighting, does the bulk of the army seem to have fled or crumbled? What can you tell about the strength of the loyalists at this point?
I think that Colonel Gaddafi's army was always a fractured and fragmented institution, and people I was talking to say that people in the army, senior people, even gave them weapons, and prison guards let prisoners out. So I don't think it's at all solid. What the rebels and the people who've taken part in this insurrection say is that the main people fighting for Colonel Gaddafi now are mercenaries. Many of them are from African countries, Chad, Mali, Sudan. But at one point today we were near the National Oil Corporation, and there the rebels had taken it over, and they were marching with their hands on their heads, 10 white men into a room. I asked who were these prisoners, and I was told that they were Ukrainian mercenaries.
Your report showed us pictures of joyous residents. Can you tell if that is the majority of the people, or is there still some sense of a divided city?
I think that's the majority. I came to Libya for the first time 6 months ago, just a few days after the revolution started in the east, and I've spent a lot of time there this year. Of course, there are people who benefited from Colonel Gaddafi's rule. There are families and tribes who made alliances with him. But the majority of Libyans, as far as I can tell, hate him, want to see him go. And that's why there were such extraordinary scenes of emotion and jubilation on the streets today and last night. It's not over. There is still this fighting. There's a danger that there could be more bloodshed, maybe a lot more bloodshed. But still, people I was speaking to today were saying this is the first time we feel that we breathe freedom.
And finally, can you tell, is there a sense of discipline or command among the rebels? Is there a presence of some kind of leadership?
Well, the National Transitional Council is still in Benghazi, the city to the east, which they took over back in February. And they say that they will be sending leaders here to Tripoli as soon as possible. But, of course, it's still so violent and volatile, I'm not quite sure when that will be possible. But what is interesting is how coordinated and well organized this insurrection, which started on Saturday, was. Obviously, for many months, the people who were going to take part in that here met and talked quietly and secretly, and weapons were smuggled in. And then the imams, at the moment of the breaking of the Ramadan fast, called from the minarets for people to rise up, and they came out in their tens of thousands and started to attack Colonel Gaddafi's installations. At that same time, rebels from different parts of the surrounding area of Tripoli started to march towards the capital city. And so I think that shows a degree of coordination which we certainly didn't see at the beginning of this revolution back in February.
Lindsay Hilsum of ITN, thanks so much and take good care.
You're welcome.